Ready for some TMI about PMI? We have Amy from RPS, and she's a PMP.
That's a little bit of alphabet soup there, Neil.
You're not kidding. All right, let's start with PMI. What does that stand for?
The Project Management Institute. That is the governing body of project managers who hold credentials and are in the project management industry.
And you are a PMP.
Yes, which is a certified project management professional. It is a certification where I have to do continuing education just like a lawyer or a CPA, right?
Okay.
To keep up that credential.
And RPS is Richardson Professional Solutions and online, richardsonprosolutions.com. How would you define in today's business climate what a project is?
Right. So we get this question often because we do have it listed on our website that we can help with projects. And honestly, it really depends. And I know that that statement is very vague and very broad, but it really just depends because a project for, say, John Deere or Textron or a bigger industry partner like that might look a lot different than your business, right? Maybe you're transitioning from QuickBooks Desktop to QuickBooks Online. That's a project.
Okay.
Right? Or if you're rolling out a new tractor at John Deere, that's also a project, a much bigger project.
I see.
But a project may look a lot different to you than it does to them.
So as a professional and you're on staff to help with this with your company, what exactly do you do to keep track of the small and the large type projects?
Right. So again, it depends.
Okay.
So the way that we work and work with other small businesses is we really try to work in softwares and applications that you may already be using and that you might be used to, right? We don't want to come in and say, we need you to use this platform. And now it's a burden on you as the client to try to learn how to use that. And it's, you're confused and now we're in the way. We really want to blend in with you and your team with what you're already doing. So if you're used to working in, say, G Suite and you work a lot in Google Sheets and rather than Excel on the Microsoft side, then we would use that. So it depends on whether we're going to use a heavy project tracker on this end where we're managing all the data, or if you're really involved as a stakeholder, then we might use something like Google Sheets so that you can keep up with what's going on. So it really depends.
And as Amy mentioned before, project management is part of the services offered at richardsonprosolutions.com. Let's try to break down the steps of how you can, I guess, keep your clients in the loop, in the know on how the project is actually going on.
Sure. So again, trying to blend in with the team of the client. We will work at the cadence that makes sense to you. We have some clients that may want a weekly check-in. We have other clients, if it's a longer project, maybe a monthly check-in. But setting up those recurring touch points with not only the client or the stakeholder, but also the team that's working on it, because you want to make sure that everyone is in the loop. You're working through any problems that you might have, because everyone, that's where diversity comes in. Everyone is coming from a different side through a different lens. So maybe I'm stuck on something that you could easily help me solve. So really having those recurring meetings set up for at least a touch point to make sure that you're keeping everything on track.
And number two, although we don't like it, folks often say, if you're going to do a project, it might take twice as long as you think it will. So how do you manage delays?
Right. So first off, you may want to overestimate how long it could take rather than underestimating. I just did that with a potential client who needed help on a website. And I said, I'm going to be honest, I'm traveling a lot right now. I'm going to a lot of conferences. It's conference season. So this thing that would normally take me about 3 weeks is probably going to take me 6. And just trying to be really transparent about that.
Right.
And as far as the delays go, it really depends on, is it coming from my side? Is it coming from a vendor's side? Again, transparency is going to be key, because if it's something tangible and, maybe the project is actually an event and, we've had problems with down to the wire of not having linens, right? And that's outside of my control. That was coming from the venue, and a little bit of scramble of trying to see, okay, well, if the linen truck isn't here in the next 15 minutes, what do we do? Right? And so trying to go ahead and think through luckily the linen truck arrived on time, right? But trying to work with the team and think through, well, what could we do? What is that going to look like? How could we problem solve really quickly if we have to? And really trying to be proactive with those.
Quick funny story. So we just did the Augusta Business Daily Conference and Expo.
I heard it went very well.
Yeah, it did. And we had 46 different vendors. One of the vendors, it somehow ended up with an 8-foot table and a 6-foot tablecloth. You mentioned the linens.
Right.
So we're scrambling. How do we solve this? Because they were clearly unhappy and the booth didn't look up to their standards. So the folks at the Green Jacket said, you know what? I'm going to give you 2 round table linens. And we kind of patched it together. And in the seam, we put something over it and everybody was happy.
Well, there you go. There you go. Very nice. A little bit of collaboration and problem solving there.
Yeah. And the last step, I suppose, was there's an old expression, analysis by paralysis. So you get too many people on a committee together.
Too many cooks in the kitchen.
Yeah.
Too many chiefs, not enough Indians.
Is there a right number like that RPS would work with within a company to make sure that the project is successful?
Right. Again, our favorite
It
saying,
depends.
it depends, right? But yes, trying to keep those subject matter experts involved, absolutely. Trying to keep the stakeholders involved, absolutely. But let's just say that you have an entire board. I'm probably not communicating with all of your board members about what's going on. I'm probably communicating to you, and then you are disseminating that information. But imagine trying to manage that project with those additional 8 or 10 people involved. Just gets really messy. And information can get lost, and you don't want that.
And then there's delays,
yes.
of course.
There we go. Circling back again to number 2. So.
Absolutely. Well, that's wonderful. And what's the best step if someone thinks they have, or what qualifies as a project for a small business, you think, where they should contact you?
Sure. So the easiest way would probably be to give a couple of examples. So I mentioned an event as a project. We do lots of corporate events. Think of ribbon cuttings, grand openings, employee appreciation event, things of that nature. We also work on projects like transitioning from QuickBooks Desktop to QuickBooks Online, or doing a cleanup project with you as far as bookkeeping goes. We've helped our clients launch learning management platforms. So she's an executive coach, and we helped her through mapping out her content to recording those videos, building out that learning management system, getting all of those videos uploaded, all of the copy put on there, updating pictures and all. It's basically like building a website, if you ask me.
Yeah.
But trying to get all of that ready and built out, that was a project. And it took about, 3 months to get it done. So it really just depends on you and your business and your industry and what it is that you're trying to accomplish.
Wow. Well, reach out to PMP, Amy Richardson. It's as easy as ABC and 1, 2, 3, and come join the PMI while you're at it.
There you go. Okay. Absolutely. We love having guests.
RichardsonProSolutions.com. Thank you, Amy.
Thank you, Neil.